Hello, everyone, and welcome to Refill with Preach Sister. I'm Michelle Lloyd Page, and I am super excited about what our conversation that is going to happen today. I have with me someone who we've been in relationship for a while. It seems like everyone that I have on the show is someone I've been in relationship with a while. But her name is Lady Saint Victor, and now you'll be able to see her beautiful face. She's just as beautiful as the image that we have on the screen. And so I just want to thank everyone for joining us today. And our guest today, one of the things that just really inspired me to reach out and to connect with you is because of your new brand that you have. It really, I saw it at a time when I needed to see that brand. So I wonder if you would just take a few minutes to just introduce yourself as well as talk about your brand.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Nicole St. Victor. I'd like to thank Michelle for having me as a guest on Refill under her brand, Preach Sista. So I am the wife of Gregory St. Victor, and I have two children. Troy's 21 and Hannah is 13. When I think about being not afraid, I gave some thought to this, that freedom at many times in our lives is a metaphor. We have this kind of in the background. We can access freedom. We are no longer slaves, but the actual reality is we're still kind of working out of some of those embodiments, if you will. We are living in fear. And so Be Not Afraid is my opportunity to encourage all folks towards freedom, but to actually live that out, to actually taste freedom in a very unique and particular way. And I should say that Be Not Afraid is not my own message. It's mentioned in the Bible over 365 times.
365 times. So that's like there's a Be Not Afraid for every day of the year. Yes. Oh, and I think in the times that we're in, right, we need that reminder to be not afraid. So what encouraged you or what inspired you to use this as a brand for all the things that you're doing?
Some years ago, and I won't tell the exact story, but I experienced some deep hurt. And I thought that I was moving in the direction of, I'm every woman, I'm free, I could handle life, I got this career thing down. And what actually happened was I got hurt to the point where I began to second guess myself. I began to second guess my academic ability, my parenting skills, who I was as a sister, and who I was externally as a public speaker. And I needed something to grasp a hold to. And I couldn't get away from an old hymn that's called Come Holy Ghost. But the line in the hymn is, be not afraid. That's the chorus. And so I kind of had the opportunity to start thinking about that to the point where I thought, if it's helping me, it could definitely help someone else.
That's really beautiful. And I appreciate that as you were thinking about how this was helping you, that you just didn't keep it to yourself, but you wanted to share it with other people. So it seems like out of your pain, out of deep hurt, you created a message of healing, and it's one that you're carrying out. So what are some of the things that you're doing with your brand with Be Not Afraid?
Yeah, so Be Not Afraid is under an LLC. And so I was about to say something else. Too many C's. We are an official company. And right now the hope is to complete our first resource, which is called The Opportunity.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, I took a class with the one and only Ty Billings. And at the end of that class, we had to kind of create this project. And The Opportunity is a wheel, if you will, and I can share it with our very beautiful host later if she'd like to share with you guys. But it's a O that kind of circles out, allowing institutions and other places to think about race and reconciliation
Mm.
within the church year, within the
Oh,
life of a
okay.
family, within the life of a classroom, within the life of a faculty association. So broad enough that it can be used across disciplines, across life, but small enough that it could also be at the dinner table or for a single person.
Oh, that is, yes, I want that resource. I'd
Okay.
like to see I'd like
Yeah.
to see that. And so how can people um find out more about this? How can they get connected?
Yeah, so right now on Instagram, my name is Lady St. Victor. And on Facebook, just Nicole St. Victor. You can find me that way. There's only two of us because of the name. um, but yeah, so the opportunity will be more of a purchase through Amazon, having the ISBN number. The other thing that
Okay.
me and I'm sorry, were you going to say something?
No, 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 go ahead.
Okay. The other thing our team is working on right now is a freedom line. And so the Be Not Afraid line, and it would just be 5 items because I don't want to run a store. I'm very unique, and folks like me, if you're artsy, if you love music, if you love office supplies, because that's my jam, right? I love office supplies. So a journal, a special shirt, a special pen. It'll be really things that people can say, I need freedom, or I want to give freedom to someone else.
Mm,
The other thing is right now, we're trying to figure out how to multiply mentors, how to empower mentors, not for the sake of them talking about, not for the sake of the mentee talking about the mentor, but for us as mature adults, women and men, to begin to give life to the current generation. And
okay.
I know people like to say emerging or tomorrow's. No, this is their world today that they're preparing for tomorrow. And so, how do we do that in a way that's not too fast, but actually builds relationships and trust?
Oh, that is great. Um, yeah, so people, please follow her on Instagram. Please follow her on her Facebook page because I think what you're starting is more than a brand. I think you're getting ready to start a movement, or you've already started a movement, and I'm excited because pouring into um, this generation that is rising up is going to
Mm,
help all of us in the long run. So just so appreciate you for doing that. Because not everybody can work with this current generation. Not everyone
mm,
has the patience. Not everyone has the insight. Not everybody has the skills. And I'm saying that because I might be one of those people. So I need you. This is what we're talking about. We all bring our gifts and talents to the table so we can make
That's right.
progress
That's
together.
right.
Now you talked about, journals, and you talked about office supplies and those kinds of things, and you talked about that's your jam. So that's something that fills you up, that energizes you. Are there other things that fill you up, other things that energize you?
Yes, thanks for asking. I am a lover of music.
Mm,
Part of my passion is not just to talk about being free, but is to sing about being free, is to write about being free, whether that is through poetry or through music lyrics. Um, but what fills me up is as I do those things, I'm actually filled up as I do those things with others.
mm,
So, a round table of young women where I'm not just teaching them or I'm not the expert in the room, but I'm actually sharing my story and talking about life as I'm also learning from them. So it's important to know that when I talk about being filled up, it's not just me taking it all in. The filling up happens as we share together.
Right, right.
Mhm.
So, yes, because when I'm thinking about being filled up, it's not just to be filled to the top, but filled to the overflow
Mhm.
so that we can
Mhm.
give out of our overflow. Because especially as women, we give so much.
Yes, we
And I know
do.
you're one of those women, right? And I know this isn't to every woman, but so many women that I know, and maybe that's just the people that I run around with, just give so much. But when we're giving out, we can give to the point that we're so depleted that we don't have anything else to give. And so when I'm thinking about refill, it's filling up till we overflow so that we can give out of the
Mm.
overflow and our reserves are still high so that we can flourish. So as we flourish, we can help other people flourish. And I think, I think about that every time I overfill one of the plants in the house, right? You fill, you fill it up so that it gets nourished and the water runs out. It's like, okay, it's good. It's
Right,
really,
right,
it's
right,
good
right.
now. But that is so good. Now, you talked about those things, pouring into other people, music as being something that fills you up, this creative process as being something that fills you up. But have you ever experienced burnout? Have you ever encountered passion fatigue? And what does that look like if you have? Or if you
Mm.
haven't, what do you think has kept you from getting to that space?
Yeah. This is an interesting question. Um, Part of who I am is working with college age students. That's my entire life. And I'm actually in that space right now.
Okay.
Um, I am tired.
Hmm.
People talk about the COVID pandemic, but actually, when we start thinking about what's a pandemic, a crisis, if you will, I've actually named five of them. And Socioeconomic status, our financial crisis, the health crisis, of course, social unrest, the political crisis, and then just the breakdown in the family. And so, because I'm at the front line of working with young adults, but also surprisingly, but not so surprisingly, coming up against racist structural systems, I've hit a wall, and what that means is I just haven't hit a wall, but the way that my family, we call ourselves the Fantastic Four, the way that we've hit a wall is that we're all working together in these same areas, but in different ways. And so this week, actually, we're just going to log off.
Okay.
And that'll mean a long drive to somewhere and some silence and good meals and connect four, some time of prayer, some times of all the music, blues and pop and the oldies and house music and all of God's music, so that we can all get the chance to be refilled.
Oh, that is so good.
Mhm.
And I that reminds me of something I used to do, my husband and I used to do with our kids, when they were young, when they were in elementary school, junior high school, not so much in high school because they had so many things going on. But, back then, before COVID, there used to be something, like teacher in services, right? So school was canceled because it was
Mm,
a teacher in service and there was teacher education. Well, we used to call family day, just a family in-service day, and the rules were the kids could not have a test that day. They had to be doing the best that they could in school, doing their
mm,
chores at home, and if they would do that, then, a couple of times a semester, we would just call a family in-service day. I would take vacation time, my husband would take vacation time, and in the
mm,
middle of the week, we would just do a day trip. We would take a Wednesday, we would drive, to Chicago, go to the museums to look at them because there wouldn't be a whole lot of people there during the
yeah,
middle of the
yeah,
week,
yeah.
or we just go to a big mall somewhere just to go shopping, just to spend that time together, just to
Mm,
build ourselves up and to say, "Yeah, you all are important. School is important, but family is important. And, and
Mm.
my youngest child is just about 30, and we still talk
Oh,
about those
wow.
family care days about, wow,
Mm.
that was so neat because we just needed, I didn't have the terminology then to call it self-care or family care, but
Or
that's
wellness. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
wellness, but
mm-hmm.
that's really what it was because we all just needed a break. And in this season, over the summer, I said, I just need a break. I needed a break so bad that I said, I will just take a leave unpaid because I don't want
Oh,
any
wow.
responsibilities for someone to be able to say, well, we're just going to call you in just for a little bit or just for this meeting. I wanted no responsibilities. And that was from June 1st to August 17,
Wow.
and it wasn't like we're sitting on a stack of money. It's like, oh yeah, okay, we can just do this easily.
Mm.
I'm the only one bringing income into the house, so that was a like, baby, I need to do this. Okay, then we're going to do this. And we did fine. We weren't anywhere close to suffering, but it was just needed. So I want to affirm your decision to say, yep, just going to get away. Just get away
Mm-hmm.
so that you can take care of yourself. That is just so important. And what a great model for your kids as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I thank you for naming all those different ways that we can experience fatigue and burnout. And when you think about all of
Mm.
those things together, um, you can say it's a wonder you're still standing. It's a wonder you're still standing when it's all of those. It's a wonder any of us, not just you, it's a wonder that any of us are still standing with all those things that you have named and all those things that are going on. And I think that ties in so well with your brand, Be Not Afraid, that
Mm.
in this season, when we're these 5 pandemics or these 5 crises that are going on,
Mm.
and they will impact all of us in different ways, right? Some it might be more of the economic areas. Some it might be the racial crisis that we are experiencing in this country. Some it could be COVID. If you have relationships or if you have family members or even yourselves that have become sick or ill during this time, that stuff is for real. Or
Yeah.
just even or or just even me, right? It's just like planning out, okay, I'm just going to go to the store when it first opens because I don't want to be there when the people are trying not to wear masks. I want to be there
Right.
when
Yeah. Yeah.
wearing a
Yeah.
mask and the
Yeah.
air hasn't been breathed in. So let me just go in. So even that's just a little bit of a stress, right? As you're thinking about that. So as you have thought about all these different things, if one of your students, for example, was to come to you and say, Lady St. Victor, I'm just really feeling it. I'm just really feeling the weight of everything. And as I look at, it's halfway through the semester,
Mm.
essays, tests, and everything, can't go home. What would be your best advice for them to refill? What do you tell people?
Mm-hmm. I'm a whiteboard kind of person. And that's the way that I rock with my students. Like, okay, you're telling me you're tired, but also with my girlfriends or whoever, I'll pull a napkin out at the dinner table. If you say to me, I'm overwhelmed, I'm not sure where I should be going or how to get there, I'm not sure how to be refilled, I'm going to pull out a piece of paper. And I'm going to ask you to name the ways in your life that your time is spent. What gets most of your attention? And as we look at that, at the center of that will be the individual. And when you think about how to be refilled, you got to think about balance. You got to think about where your relationships are. And I believe that each person walks around with a measure of freedom that if they begin to really tap into what is my best way to refill, then they would start to equalize, if you will, all those areas of life that are out of alignment, like a workaholic or saying yes to too many things, so busying your schedule to the point where you can't breathe. Or how's your wellness? How are you working out? How are you taking walks? Are you practicing things like, in terms of being in academia, are you reading for pleasure and not always for development? Once, and most of the time when I'm giving this advice, I have a measure of relationship with the person. And once we get past that, then we can start talking about, how does it look to prepare or to be refilled, not just for yourself, but for the folks you're impacting. We are all leaders. And so if part of my leadership is someone watching me, then they need to know that I've slowed down enough to be refilled.
That is wonderful advice. And I know that one of the comments that have come in is just affirming that it's so nice to hear that it's okay to stop. And I think as leaders, and as you said, we're all leaders. People are watching us, even if we don't have that official title as leader.
Mm.
People are often watching us more than we know, especially, I think, if we are people who proclaim to be Christ followers, if we are
Mm.
people who are working in communities, people are looking at us and we might not know what
Mm.
they're thinking, but if we can demonstrate that it's okay to stop, in my work-related emails that go out, attached to the signature is a statement that says, "I do not read or respond to emails after 9:00 p.m." And I don't read after 9:00 PM and before 8 AM. So if there's something urgent, you have my email. I mean, you have my cell phone. If something is urgent, you know how to get
Mhm.
hold of me. But if it's just an email, don't expect just because you're up at midnight or 1:00 in the morning, you have this brilliant idea, I'm gonna get this, demanding a response. I just sent that out there. I saw one of my colleagues do that. Um, and when they did that, I was like, "Yes, why don't we do that?" Why? Because so I work at the executive level at my institution, and we say all the time, "Let's not, always be on, always responding to emails." But you get an idea, and that might be the one night you didn't sleep. And we also have a practice of we do not email each other on Sundays, and I don't do anything work related on Sundays. Is that
Mhm.
that is a Sabbath day, but there is so much pressure to do that. Uh,
Mhm.
I mean, to be active, to do those things because, we have a culture that says if you're not busy, if you're not demonstrating that you're actually doing some work, then maybe you're not really doing any work. But, I tell people if God rested a day a
Then we
week,
can all rest.
then we can all rest some day of the week. We can
Yeah.
all rest some day of the week. Well, Lady St. Victor, we are almost at our time, but I
Mm.
would, once again, if you could remind people how they can get a hold of you. And I'm putting up, the little screen that shows another beautiful picture and a reminder of your brand. But how, again, can people get in touch with you to follow you so that they can continue to be inspired by this brand, and I'm gonna call it a movement of be not afraid in these times of multiple crises?
Mm. Thank you so much, Michelle. So there you'll see that my IG name is Lady St. Victor. And on Facebook, Nicole St. Victor, you can search me that way. And a few, hopefully by 2021, our website will be up and moving. Please know that I do not overpost. I don't overpost because I'm actually in the field doing the work.
Oh, that is so good.
Okay, so I know that people have social media accounts where they are live and active every moment of the day, but I'm actually with students, with families, with congregations doing the work. And so I'll post here and there, but you can look out for words of motivation, for quotes of motivation. Yeah, follow me and you'll get to meet me and all of my friends, which are mainly students and folks within my community.
Oh, thank you so very much. I appreciate that, and thank you for modeling that, right? And because, yeah, if you have a full time job, if you have a job, and even more than a full time job, and if no one is really paying you to be a brand steward and to develop all of this, then you can dive into it, but if you're not balanced in how you're holding all that together,
Mm.
then you have to ask yourself the question, okay, so what kind of role model am I for my family? What kind of role model am I for my students? Because if I'm telling my students, you need to slow down sometime and take some time to just be,
Mm.
take some time to pour into other people, but they can't ever get a hold of you because when they're having a conversation with you, you're on your phone trying to do another update or trying to do a picture to capture everything. So thank you for sharing that because I think that is just another way that you are being a leader and that you are inspiring others. Thank you so much for the advice that you have shared with us today. Thank you so much for your story that you have shared with us today. Um, you are an inspiration. We'll be talking again. We'll be
I
talking
look
again.
forward to it. Yeah.
And my prayer for you is that, this time that you're getting ready to take away with your family, that it is even more than you are anticipating that it will be such a time of refilling and refreshing that you will be in overflow mode when you get back home. Your kids and your
Mm.
husband will be in overflow mode when you get back home. And the tension and the shoulders and everything else will have disappeared because because you have been refilled to the point of overflow. Well, hello. So, again, everyone, this is Michelle Lloyd Page, and you have been with us for a refill with Preach Sista. And just as a reminder, that you can see us or catch up with all the different things that we are doing. Let me do it this way so you can actually see it. All the things that we are doing, you can find us on our official YouTube channel, which is official Preach Sista, because there are too many other Preach Sisters out there, and I want to make sure that you find us at official Preach Sista. You can find us in our Refill with Preach Sista private group, and that private group is a way to just get connected. We have daily inspirations that are posted, just simple statements, either breath prayers or affirmations or ways to express gratitude. It's just a community to encourage each other so that we can continue to be refilled between our shows. You can find us on our website, of course. Our hashtag Refill with Preach Sista, but you can also find us at preachsista.org. You can find us on Instagram at the official Preach Sista. And we are also not someone that overposts on Instagram. But for me, it's mostly because I forget to do it. And then you can also find us on just a regular Preach Sista Facebook page. But I do want to say again, thank you so very much for being with us. Enjoy the rest of your day. Give your kids and hubby a hug from me and take a deep breath. But again, thank you again for being with us. Thank you all for joining us. And remember, we do the refill with Preach Sister every first and third Saturday of the month. Oh, and I almost forgot. We have added something new that we're going to end every program with. And we have an affirmation of the month. And our affirmation this month is I am enough. So as you are thinking, if you come into a situation or you have a time where you're thinking, I don't know if I can do this. You had promised yourself that you were going to leave the potato chips alone, but there was just this new flavor that was out there that you just had to try. I may or may not be guilty of that. And before you start beating yourself up and before you start, running down that rabbit trail of, oh, I don't know if I can do this, just remember you are enough. This is our affirmation of the month. And so I just want to encourage you throughout the day, throughout the weeks, um, when you get to a place where your mind wants to take you, that you're not enough, that you can't do, you start focusing on all the ways that you have failed or that you haven't met your goals. I want you to remember that you are enough because our God has created you fearfully and wonderfully. And my sisters, my brothers, you are enough. Again, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you the next time on. So this is the third. This is I have to remember what today is. This is our third Saturday, so we'll see you the first Saturday in um, Yeah, what's the next month? In November, we'll see you there. You can tell this is live. This is so good, but thank you all so much for joining us.
And thank you, Michelle.